Please let me know if you can't hear or can't see the screen. Uh, as always, we are going to take the questions via text on the right-hand side here of the GoToMeeting module that should be showing when you open the webinar in the first place. Today we are going to be discussing lead scoring. So we're going to just basically discuss why one would use lead scoring and then how to implement it within GreenRope. Lead scoring is probably one of the more powerful elements of the system in terms of being able to gauge people's participation with your marketing materials and other elements that you provide to them. And it's also not that complicated in the sense that it really only requires a few steps to have it up and running for your account. So lead scoring, how to evaluate the points is probably the most important step. And then also in terms of that, establishing the valuation of those actions. So those are going to be the first two elements we'll cover today. As you see here, when you go to contacts, lead scoring, you will see a series of points that are basically assigned to different elements that are placed within the system. So the first one to understand is the activity half-life. This basically works just like chemistry. When you have a particular chemical compound, generally over a period of time, the potency or the purity of that said chemical will lose its purity. So essentially, in the same sense, you have after 7 days, which is what I placed here, the ability to cut those points in half. So if you're dealing with a certain sales cycle, that's what is going to be your best half-life days. So it'd be, if you're dealing with quarterly, 100 days or so, or if you're dealing with us, for example, we have 30-day trials. So for us, maybe a 30-day period is a pretty logical time frame to work with. But anything that any number that you place in here will be calculated by the system itself. And the half-life will then affect all of these other metrics that you put in here. So reads, clicks, and forwards, these all have to do with emails and interactions of the emails. Reads is just simply opening it. A click is an actual click on a link that you provide to them. Forwarding is forwarding to a friend. So obviously there's a bit of difference in the valuation between someone who reads an email and someone who actually clicks on a link. And then furthermore, for someone who forwards it, that might be 25 points or something. I'm not going to offer, advice as to what points you should be putting onto things. Basically, the principle of this whole conversation is to look at what elements are most important to your business, and then from there you establish the points that are going to be most representative of your business and the processes that you've set in place. So as you see here, activity scoring is the first one, and this actually all pertains to either emails or social media elements, or also ticketing forms. So these are all elements that are being done by the actual contact within the account. And then from there, you get into CRM activities. So any of the activities that you define within the CRM activities tab of the contacts page can have a particular evaluation to it. And these are assigned within the CRM by someone who's using the system. So if you give something a certain amount of points and you assign that particular activity to them, they're going to automatically accrue those points from there. So that's also important to look at, and knowing that in the CRM activities tab of the contacts page, you can actually set up different activities that are particular to your business. I mean, we have some that we've provided to you, but you can also add more that are more specific to your business processes and the way that you interact with your clients. So all of these points that you then assign are going to be automatically calculated by the system. And the last ones that you have are the opportunities. So again, this correlates to opportunities, which are set up, another element that is set up by users in the CRM specifically, just like activities. And that's where you'll be able to assign points based on the different opportunities that you set up, what quality of leads they are, where they are in the phases. So these are the two metrics, the quality and the phases. The quality is something that's not editable. A, B, C, or D are the qualities that we've, the four, I guess, ranks of qualities that we've set up, whereas the phases are something that you can edit within the opportunities tab of the contacts page. So any questions at this point? All right. From there, we can move to the actual demographic scoring. So demographic scoring works differently in the sense that it's not assigned by activities or by CRM activities that you are managing within your contacts information, but more so this is all dictated by the data fields that you have for these particular contacts. So if someone is a support agent, for example, you'd give them a certain amount of points. If they're the CEO, you'd give them more points, or however you feel best represents your business. That's how you, again, you can set up these different options, and they're based on these fields that we've provided for you: title, company, city, state, country, and gender. And then any of the data fields that are user-defined data fields can also be managed from within here. So all these elements can be edited to your needs. So if you have a particular metric such as, membership level, and there's gold, silver, platinum, so on and so forth, you can assign different points levels based on the demographics that someone has within their contact data. So this is important because obviously if you're dealing with a certain contact that has more valuation to it, that's worth more to your business. And so it's seen as a more viable lead, or someone to spend a little bit more time and energy on than perhaps someone who is not accrued as many points. So really looking at the lead scoring module as a means of honing in and really putting forth values to the specific elements that are going to be unique to your business. And again, that's whether with the activities or with the demographics. So I think what's most complicated is really finding and judging what those points should equate to, how many points should be placed for a certain activity, how many points should be placed for a certain demographic. And there isn't really an answer that's right or wrong. It's more based on, I believe, trial and error. So if you're seeing that, a lot of your email marketing it generates, a good amount of positive attention to you, and you have a lot of people converting due to the information that you're providing to them, and the links that you're providing to them, then you might want to put more valuation on these specific activities. Whereas if you're dealing with the CRM activities down here, and it's more based on your activities within the CRM and your sales agents or whoever else is working within the system, then you'll want to give more points to this. So this is something, it's more of a collaborative effort. Only the account holder can go in and change these valuations. So it'd be important to sit down with your whole team or everyone who's involved in the system, and just simply, come up with what you feel is a good barometer of these activities and their value to you. And then obviously, if you notice that something equates to more of a value or less of a value, then you can adjust them as time goes on, and as you kind of observe how those points work. So just let me touch on the PowerPoint. So we discussed the activity scoring and the demographic scoring. We've also recently added automated actions. So these automated actions are based on points that are accumulated. So you can say if a contact is a member of any group or particular group, depending on which you want to set up, with a minimum demographic lead score. So that specifically correlates to this section here that I just touched on with whether someone's like a CEO or a CFO or whatever it might be. A lead score of a certain amount of points and reaches X amount of activity lead score points, then activate a workflow. And workflows are set up within the CRM activities tab of the contacts page. So you have three elements kind of at work here. One is the contacts page, obviously, which stores all the CRM data. And then you've got the actual activities, which are dictated by the CRM activities tab of the contacts page, and you can find that here. This is where you not only can create specific activities, but also set up workflows with activities to represent your, again, your business processes and the way that you interact with your leads. So this is where all this is managed. And you can add, particular activities here that are going to be correlated to your business. So if I wanted to add, a webinar, for example, since we're giving one, you could have that be an activity and you can assign a certain amount of points to that. So all these elements are dictated within this. And then just to touch on, because I mentioned opportunity scoring, you can edit your opportunity phases here with the phase times. And then you go down here and you can actually edit the names of these phases. So that's something that you have within your control and within your editing ability of the account itself. So just to touch back on the lead scoring and the automated marketing, when you have set up certain rules, it'll activate a workflow, which is again part of our automated marketing and part of a series of activities that will then, if you have points associated to those activities, that will accrue more points to the contacts. So all of these are elements that are well within your ability to edit. And again, the whole idea is to have it reflect your business and your business processes to the best ability. So that's why we've made this a very editable section. And that's why the power is kind of in your control to really be able to manage these elements. So this covers kind of the basic elements of how to set up the lead scoring. And then lastly, to kind of touch on, this is where you'd actually have those points be a searchable element. So if I had from this group, I'll just do from all contacts from the last 36 weeks with a demographic score of, and I'll just do 0 points, and an activity lead score of 15 points, let's say, show, and then we'll have, so I only have, a certain number of contacts in here. But if we were to look at a more robust list, I could go to our green rope group and I could show, let's say in the last 28 days, again with these 30-day cycles that we deal with, demographic score of any score, we'll leave it at that. And then we'll do activity lead score of, well, let's do 20 points and then show. And now that we're dealing with a bigger group of people, a lot more information is being compiled, then you have this list here. And as you see here, a bunch of our actual employees have negatives next to them, and that's because there's a demographic lead score set up where if someone's a member of Green Rope, they're going to have negative points associated. So that's going to go against the lead scoring. So in the long run, you get this valuation. You can actually look at why these points came up, where they're coming from, visiting the website, looking at certain activities, setting up activities within their CRM. So all these are elements that you can edit within the account specifically. So this kind of shows you the two elements. we've covered. And again, this is a pretty straightforward element of our system. It's a lot more powerful than the amount of time that it takes to set it up, because really all it takes is setting up those points. But in terms of the information that you can gather from it, that's where you get the real value and into your business, and really the insight that will help you with your marketing efforts and help you with the information that you're distributing directly to your constituents. So this, in a nutshell, is the lead scoring module. There's not really too much more to expand upon with that, as it covers, again, setting up the points, making sure that if you want any automated actions that you set those up. And then lastly, in the hot tab here, you can actually search for those contacts based on the points that they've accrued. And then lastly, we have added this one. This was a couple months back. This isn't based on points, but it's simply based on CRM activities. So you can look at, who are, cold leads who literally haven't had an activity in over a year. So this is totally contrasting, but it doesn't have to do with the lead scoring points, again, because it just has to do with any CRM activity, not a certain amount of points. But you can look at this list of contacts here. So this is, again, a contrasting view to the hot tab. It's the converse demographic that you're dealing with there. So do we have any questions? Next, show how web page actions are scored and add to lead score. So essentially this, I can just cover that really quickly. On the site itself, when you actually add your tracking codes to the website, and all that entails, this is for a different webinar, but it does tie in with the lead scoring. We have done tracking before, but essentially once you put in the tracking code here onto any web page that you have or that you're managing, you can then give pages and scores. So you can look at, and this might take a little bit to load because it does compile a lot of different information, but basically you'll have a list of all the pages that you're managing here, and you'll be able to see and give weighting of points based on that. So those points will be taken into consideration as when you saw the hot contacts page, those points were being assigned based on going to our main Greenrope page or going to other marketing pages that we have broadcasted on the World Wide Web. So this would be where you'd assign those points, David. Any questions from here? So I just want to make sure that any inquiries get answered. But that, again, it's the lead scoring module is pretty cut and dry in terms of those elements that you set up. So once you have those within your account, then you can start really tweaking it and fine tuning it to best match your business's processes. And if there are no more questions coming up, I will, here we go. Are there any plans for WordPress plugin for Greenrope? There is a WordPress plugin. There's actually, if you go to greenrope.com, there's instructions for what to do. If you go to the features page here, WordPress plugin. Essentially, you just go to the WordPress apps module, you search for Greenrope, you install it into your WordPress, and then you need your account number, and your account number is provided in the settings, my account page, settings tab. So right, I'm in a different group, but you would see it here in the subscription tab. So you just need this 5-digit number, and that will bring in that tracking information directly to your WordPress site. Can you automate a B back score? I'm sorry, David, I don't understand that question. If you could elaborate on that, I could probably give a little bit more insight. Mark, what tab do you click on to get to lead scoring? The tab is right here, lead scoring, under contacts. Having problems with the sound. Yes, Rob, we will be posting this one online. All of our webinars are posted on the help section. If you scroll down here to recorded webinars, and you'll find our backlog of webinars that we've done in the past. It is possible to track multiple websites. You can track as many websites as you need. Yes, whether it's in GreenRope or with WordPress. So from here, I do not believe that there is a scoring differential on that. You would just look at their contact records. So what David was asking is if they have a second visit, whether that could give more evaluation. I don't believe that that is within our scoring at this point. Maybe that's something we can add in the future. But really, if someone's coming for a second, third, fourth time, you'll start to notice that in the scoring that they get. And you'll be able to address that as needed from there. So generally, people who are really interested in your materials, they will, when someone is enthused about something, generally there's a pretty uh, pretty strong correlation to the amount of times that they look at something or the amount of visits that they have. So I do see the value in that, but really it'd just be a matter of looking at the metrics and seeing based on the tracking scores how many times they've been to a certain page and such, which you can look at on a group basis within the tracking under website, or you can look at it on an individual basis within their CRMs. So just to touch on before we head out, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to email us directly at support@greenrope.com, where myself or another member of our team can help address those inquiries. This whole community is all basically based on your suggestions and your necessities. So if you ever have any sort of issues or questions or elements that come up that you feel should or could be applied to the system, if it behooves you, it would probably behoove at least another person in their business as well. So we're definitely all ears. Just send over the suggestions or questions to support@greenrope.com or suggest@greenrope.com, and we can address those as they come in. Okay, so David, I'll bring it up as a request to see if that's something that we can build in the future. There's not a way to add. There's a way to block certain IP addresses, and that's done within the tracking module under here. You can block certain IPs from being counted, such as the filter, your office IP address, but there isn't a way to look at a particular IP address. Well, thank you very much, Kenton, for the positive words. We're here to help out, of course. So if there's anything that you need, just let us know. So from here, as I said, anything that comes up, just let us know. You can feel free to email us at support@greenrope.com, or we have the help section, which has various articles and videos to help you guide along, utilizing the system for your business. And then if you guys need anything else, just feel free to let us know, and we'll address them as they come up. But again, thanks very much for your time and your enthusiasm using our system. We really appreciate it. And hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And thanks for tuning in.